All right, you guys have seen it, you guys have asked for it. Today is the day we're gonna learn how to beach start with a little practice. If you follow the instruction, that will be you at the end of the video. Alright, thank you guys for coming back. We are so excited to have another video for you, brought to you by Wingfoil Pro Center, so check it out, wingfoilprocenter.com. But today we're going to talk about how to beach start. So I'm going to break down the video in a few parts, so if you can't watch it all, go in the description, there will be like the time mark, so you can jump right into what you are interested in. But first we're going to talk about gear, we're going to talk about location, and then we're going to talk about technique. And then at the end of the video, I will throw you a challenge to get this really cool sticker that I'm going to put right here. But let's get into it. Let's learn how to do it. So first, the gear. I have two different setups here, and it's kind of like, it's one, I'm not sponsored by any of these brands, so everything I say is my own opinion. But the interesting part is we have two different setups. We have a high aspect foil with the SabFoil 1350 Leviathan, and then we have more of a mid-aspect foil with the 2100 X-Series Mark II from Cabrinha. Two different setups, big size. This one is 2100 square centimeters. This one is like over 1800 square centimeters, but it is high aspect. Now, I would say, personally, once I got my technique dialed, this is the setup that I love. It's a smaller burn, perfect for pumping, high aspect foil, tons of glide. This is what I like. But for learning, I do think a mid-aspect foil is a bit more forgiving. It's not as high performance, but for learning it does make it easier. Basically, the high aspect doesn't go side to side very easily in this kind of like sizes, so it's not as forgiving. If you start to lose your balance, sometimes you can't correct it. Where with a lower aspect foil, it goes side to side easily, so if you do make a mistake, you can correct it and you will be able to save it. So that is why today we're gonna do mostly on this burn, but I'm gonna show you also how I do it on this burn. Now, my size, this is a 65 centimeters, definitely gonna help you. This is 73 centimeters, a bit harder. Now, when you are out there and pumping, then it's nice to have a bit more. But this is the alloy option, 65 centimeters. Alloy makes it like very stiff, and so that's kind of like my go-to for like when I teach somebody how to beach start. This is the setup. So quick word about the fuselage and the tail. I personally like shorter fuselage, smaller tail. The foil is already a huge size. We don't need to lock it in with a long fuselage or a big tail. It does make it more twitchy, but basically if you think about it, the pumping is bringing your foil kind of like up and down, and when you have something that's super locked in, you do waste quite some energy to like bring it up and down because it's so stable this way. So having something a bit shorter is going to make it easier to pump. Now, it does make it more twitchy, so you just have to find the right balance. Maybe if you want something super locked in just to beach start, to learn how to beach start, maybe go a bit bigger tail, longer fuselage. But this is the 370 and 663 fuselage, and that's the V180 with the short fuselage. The burn, this is 8 liters, this is 18 liters. I like both. Obviously, this one is going to be lighter, this one is going to be heavier, it has more volume. This is nicer when you have to swim back. This doesn't float as well. But ultimately, if you don't fall and you're out there pumping, you're going to have more fun on a smaller board. And this is like super stiff. So I love this board. Both of them are like super stiff, but this is bigger. So if I wanted to go like for a long pump, I want something smaller. So which size do you need to get into the beach start? Obviously this, we just talked about them. You can beach start pretty much any size. Of course, the smaller it gets, the harder it gets, the more skills you need. Personally, I've been able to beach start down to the 800, the H series from Cabrinha, the 800 square centimeters. But to learn, in my opinion, you need something around 1800 to 2000. It's just gonna make it so much easier for yourself. If you have 1000 square centimeter foil already, sure, you can try it, but just know it's gonna be so much harder, and it's gonna be hard to like learn the right technique. To me, that's why you want to start big. Even if your goal is to be beach starting 1000, you, by going big and applying every tip we're going to tell you today, you're going to learn the perfect technique that's going to allow you to go down in size, because you understand every step of the process, and you can make it faster and faster and faster, because if your technique is right, you're going to be able to go down in size. If your technique is kind of like wonky, you might be able to do a beach start on a big foil, but as soon as you go down, it won't work, because as you go down, you have to be so efficient. So learn the proper way, follow the step we're going to tell you today, and you will be able to beach start pretty much any size foil. Now, let's cover location. Often people think you need a big drop-off, and actually a big drop-off, in my opinion, makes it harder. So this is pretty gradual like drop. There is no surprise. I know exactly where it's going, and that's perfect. If you do have a big drop off, sometimes it's harder. One, because maybe you don't have as much room to run before the drop, and then two, you might miss a step and then step in a drop off, and now it's over, or you take off too soon and it's not deep enough. So having something that's like gradual and you know how it's gonna go, to me, that's perfect. I will show you the technique on how to take off. If you have a big drop off, it's a bit different. I will show you after. The other thing is right here, we are on the lake, so it's totally flat. The cool thing obviously is to do it on the ocean with wave. It makes it so much harder if you have a shore break. Any tiny shore break is gonna make it harder. So if you can, when you learn, get something super flat, super predictable. With shore break, you have to time it. It's a bit harder. Now that we covered the gear, the location, we are ready to get into the technique. One, I would say, if you don't know how to dock start, learn how to dock start. We have a video right here on how to dock start. When you are at the point where you are getting into the beach start, learning how to beach start, in my opinion, you should be having your dock start very dialed in. If you don't know how to dock start and you go straight into the beach start, to me it's kind of like if you are into wing foiling and you want to do the backflip before you know how to jump, or if you are into kiting, you want to do a kite loop before you know how to jump. It's harder. So go through the steps and it will make your progression so much easier. Also, know how to pump. If you learn how to beach start and now you get on the board and you don't know how to pump, that's another challenge. So learn how to pump first. So before you even go to the beach and practice the beach start, there is something that you can practice at home, in a park, if you have a picnic table like that. This is about the height that your foil is gonna be at when you kind of like jump on it. So it's perfect. Now what we're gonna practice is jumping on it with putting my back foot on and my front foot on, and remove my hands. Because when we go through that process of beach starting, I'm already flying the foil while I'm running. So when I jump on it, I cannot remove my hand before I put my feet, because if I remove my hand, now I'm disturbing the pressure that I apply on the board. So it's really good to go on a picnic table, a railing, or whatever is safe in your area, and practice back foot, front foot, and then I'm good. It does require a bit of flexibility, so you're gonna have to practice that, but you can do that over and over again. And 1, 2, let go, clack, 1, 2, pumping. And that's also what it's gonna teach you is really to send your chest on top so you are balanced. What you don't want to do is putting your feet and not your chest forward. Now you are off balance. So as I jump on my board, I send my chest on top, front foot, and I'm stable. My balance is right on top of the board. Go ahead and practice that 100 times until you get it dialed, until your flexibility is ready, your mobility is ready, your muscles are ready. Next step, let's head to the water. All right, so the first step is really to learn how to run while flying your foil. So you can go along the beach like that and just learn forever. But the point is, when I run, I lift my feet above the water. And what that does is it allows me to keep speed. If I would run one normal, but dragging my feet, I have so much drag, it's so hard to get speed. So I do hops, lifting my feet above the water and helping myself by applying pressure on the burn. I am using the burn as a platform to help me hop, 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 and pick up speed. That allows me to make sure I am flying the foil. I'm not holding the burn, because if I'm holding the burn, who knows if I'm ready to step on it. I need to make sure I'm flying it, so when I step on it, it's gonna keep flying. So hands on top of the burn, and I'm gonna hop and learn how to move with speed by lifting my feet above. Again, I'm holding the burn, but right away I transition to my hands on top. Hands on top. But I'm gonna go from holding the burn to putting my hands on top of the burn to fly the burn. Make sure I'm flying the burn. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take 2 steps and I'm gonna press on the burn to make sure I am flying the burn. I am getting some glide. I don't put too much pressure on the front, too much pressure on the back. I kind of keep it about equal. Sometimes even slightly down. We are getting deeper, so you can go slightly down to help you with picking up speed. If you go slightly up, you are losing speed and it makes the jump harder. So few steps, 1, 2. All right, practice that over and over until you got that part dialed. What's really important in this exercise is to get your chest on top of the burn. Because you are flying the foil, if you stay behind, if you stay on the side, you're not gonna have pressure so that your foil can fly properly. So my chest, did you see how I got some glide? That would be step 1. Step 2, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna add the back foot and we're gonna keep the front foot dragging. So we're only gonna send the back foot, and that's gonna, if you go only in right away, that's when you get sketchy falls. So I always teach it this way, step by step, so nothing wrong is gonna happen. I hold the burn in front of me, hop, hop, back foot, glide. Up. You're gonna go back, do that over and over until you feel very comfortable. You can get your back foot there and you can get some glide. If just right there you start turning, you stall, you have to keep practicing, because there is no point putting a second foot if you don't get a good glide out of this one. So 1, 2. I kind of bump my back foot here on the back of the burn. All good. This is gonna happen. You're gonna get some bruises learning, but that's an important part. So now that we get a good glide with the back foot, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and place that front foot. Obviously, when I place my front foot, I only have so much room. That's the challenge, because if I remove my hand to give me more room to put it, that's easy. But now I remove the pressure and the body is shooting up. So I have to keep my hand here until my front foot is gonna be here. Now I'm taking over the pressure and I can remove my front hand. But at first what we're gonna do is we're gonna hop, hop, back foot, front foot, and then squat and glide. Just to make sure we are stable before we start pumping. If you start pumping right away, that's when you could kind of like lose balance, fall. So I'm just gonna do 1, 2, and glide. Come back. Whoop. Actually, it's not that deep. All good. So we're gonna do that one more time. But for you, just do it over and over. I'm telling you, all of these steps, you really want to get them dialed in before you go full into it. It's gonna make your progression safer, prevent accidents. So again, I'll do 1, 2, step on it, and then squat and glide. 1, 2. So at this stage, now you got your both of your feet on the burn, you got glide, you are ready to start pumping. It's gonna come naturally, you get some glide. I would always recommend like give it a split second before you start pumping, just so you find your balance. If you go decent speed and big enough foil, you will have enough glide to take your time to start pumping. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, and now I start pumping. So I don't know if you've noticed, but on all of these techniques, there is something that's very important, which is where am I taking off in terms of how deep I am when I take off. To me, I always want to take off before I get to my knees. Past my knees, much harder. You start getting slower, your burn starts getting higher, harder. So just what I always do, and that's why I only did like 2 here, I'm pretty used to this spot. But before, when I show up to a new spot, I walk, and I'm like, okay, just below my knees, this is where I'm gonna take off. So I go back, I try to like remember this step, and now I know, okay, from here to where I wanna take off, I have room for 2 steps. If I do need more, I want 3, then maybe I need to take off further. I don't have enough water, so maybe I would take 1 step side, 1 step side, 1, 2, and 3, and then I take off at an angle. But I always identify exactly where is the spot below my knee, because that is the best spot to take off. If you go down right away, your mast is gonna hit. You see, that's just how it is. You have to get used to flying your foil fairly straight when you take off, because if 65 centimeters, let's see, boom, already here, so it's only gonna take me like a split second to get to here with my glide, and I'm already, my mast is already cleared here. If I touch the water with the burn, pretty much it's game over when you pump. You get so much drag. So I know when this is, let's put it about like when it touch, boom, it start touching. I'm taking off here. So I have from here to glide and make sure I don't go down right away. So even though this is not very deep, it's plenty, because I am gonna fly, and then by the time I get to my first pump, I'm clear. So this is a very important step. The deeper you go, the slower you get, the higher the burn gets, more complicated it gets. It will feel like I'm taking off too early, but that's how it is. Okay, so now let's take the other setup, a bit more advanced, a bit more fun too. But 73 centimeter mast. This foil has tons of glide. That's why I absolutely love it. But it's gonna be same principle. I'm gonna take 2 step. Might have to jump a bit higher because of the mast. 1, 2, and going. And then when you come back to the beach, stay high, jump, hold it, you are back and everything is good. So now, if I had a drop, pretty like intense drop right here, and I want to make sure I have a few steps to pick up speed before I go, I'm gonna go sideways to the beach and then push off at a 45-degree angle. So I would start along the beach, 1, 2, and now I'm going. So this technique, running shallow and going to an angle, is what I have to do if I'm going to beach start at 800 square centimeters foil, because the 800 requires so much speed. If I go straight, I can't get enough speed really once I'm like too deep. So I run very fast sideways and then I push off. So this technique is very helpful regardless of any size foil. If you know how to run with your foil whilst flying, you will be able to take off in any configuration, shallow, deep, drop, no drop. You have the proper technique to make it happen. So one accessory that's gonna make your beach start journey better, you're gonna fall, your foil is gonna scrape the sand so many times. And so I use this Armoured Labs ceramic coating. So it's a spray that you apply on your foil. You can also put it on your board. Check it out. But it basically protects your foil from scratches. It actually also enhances performance. It's not going to be like night and day, but it does help. And the cool thing, it is ocean safe. So you can apply a thin coat on your foil and it's going to protect every time it scratches the sand. Obviously it's going to come off, so if you are going to scrape the sand every day, you might have to like put it on either every day or every few days. If you don't touch the sand very often, then once a month will be plenty. But check it out. I love this accessory. So now, with all of these tips, all of these steps, all you have to do is 2 steps, 1, 2, jump on it and go out there and you practice. You're gonna get it. It's such a fun activity and you can extend your pumping time, and it's just gonna make your foiling so much better in any area. So now I challenge you to get the beach start, and if you get it, tag us. So stoked, I got the beach start with Wingfoil Pro Center, and we will send you this amazing sticker. You are part of the Beach Start Freak Club. So now it's your time to represent, your time to get more people into it. Such an amazing feeling to be able to show up anywhere, any beach, no wind, any condition, you go, boom, you get your workout, you work on your skills, you have fun. It's the best way to do it. So on that note, check out wingfoilprocenter.com if you need your gear, if you want to learn, and now we'll see you next time.